When my husband and his mother embarked on a luxurious family vacation, I was left behind to care for my bedridden father-in-law. It seemed like an unfair arrangement, but I chose to stay, driven by a sense of duty and compassion. What started as an exhausting week quickly turned into an eye-opening journey. Hidden letters and whispered confessions from my father-in-law unveiled long-buried secrets about the family's dynamics and their true motives for leaving me behind. With every discovery, I began piecing together a puzzle that painted my husband and his mother in a shocking light. Little did I know, the quiet days of caregiving would transform my life forever, forcing me to make decisions I never anticipated. The air was heavy with tension as Emma watched her husband, Daniel, load the last of the suitcases into the car. His mother, Margaret, stood nearby, fussing over the travel arrangements for their lavish family holiday. Emma's heart sank as she glanced back at the house where her ailing father-in-law, Henry, rested in his room. She had begged Daniel to stay, to reconsider leaving her alone to care for his father, but her pleas had fallen on deaf ears. "Emma, you'll manage just fine," Daniel had said, brushing off her concerns. "It's only a week, and Dad's not that bad. Besides, Margaret and I have been planning this trip for months." Emma bit her tongue as she watched them drive away, leaving her to face the daunting task ahead. Henry's health had been declining rapidly. Once a vibrant and strong man, he was now frail, confined to his bed most of the time, and reliant on others for even the simplest tasks. Caring for him wasn't just physically demanding, it was emotionally taxing, especially since Emma had never been close to him. As the car disappeared down the driveway, Emma took a deep breath and walked back inside. The house felt eerily silent, a stark contrast to the lively chatter that had filled it just moments ago. She made her way to Henry's room, plastering a smile on her face as she entered. "Hi, Henry," she said gently. "How are you feeling today?" Henry's eyes opened slowly, and he gave her a weak smile. "Ah, Emma, you didn't have to stay behind. You should be with them, enjoying yourself." "Someone had to stay and take care of you," she replied, pulling up a chair beside his bed. "And besides, I'd rather be here with you." Henry chuckled softly, though it turned into a cough. Emma quickly handed him a glass of water. As the days passed, Emma settled into a routine. She prepared Henry's meals, administered his medication, and kept him company, reading to him from his favorite books. Despite the challenges, she began to notice a side of him she hadn't seen before. Beneath his gruff exterior was a man who had lived a rich and complicated life. One evening, as she was tidying up his room, Emma's eyes fell on an old photo album sitting on a dusty shelf. Curiosity got the better of her, and she brought it to Henry. "Do you mind if we look through this?" she asked. Henry's face lit up. "Ah, that old thing. It's been years since I've seen those pictures. Go ahead." Emma opened the album, and together they flipped through the pages. The photographs told the story of a young Henry, full of life and ambition. There were pictures of him as a soldier, of him building the very house they were in, and of him with his late wife, Sarah. "She was beautiful," Emma remarked, pausing on a photo of Sarah laughing as she held a baby in her arms. "She was my everything," Henry said, his voice tinged with sadness. "Losing her was the hardest thing I've ever endured." Emma felt a pang of sympathy for him. She had heard bits and pieces about Sarah over the years, but seeing the love in Henry's eyes, as he spoke about her, gave her a new perspective. It was clear that he still carried her memory with him every day. As the week went on, Emma and Henry grew closer. He began to open up to her, sharing stories from his past that he had never told anyone, not even Daniel. One night, as they sat in the dimly lit living room, Henry revealed a painful secret. "Emma, there's something I need to tell you," he began, his voice trembling. "I haven't been the father I should have been to Daniel. After Sarah passed, I threw myself into work, thinking it would help me cope. But all it did was push him away. I see now that I failed him in so many ways. Emma reached out and took his hand. "Henry, it's never too late to make things right." "I hope you're right," he said, a tear slipping down his cheek. The turning point came on the 5th day. Emma was in the kitchen preparing Henry's dinner when she heard a loud crash from his room. Her heart raced as she ran to check on him. She found him on the floor, struggling to get up. He had tried to reach for a book on a high shelf and had lost his balance. "Henry," she exclaimed, rushing to his side. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," he muttered, clearly embarrassed. "Just a foolish old man trying to do too much." Emma helped him back into bed and sat beside him, tears welling up in her eyes. "You're not foolish, Henry. You're brave and strong, and you've been through so much. But you have to let me help you." For the first time, Henry looked at her with a vulnerability she hadn't seen before. "Thank you, Emma, for everything. You've done more for me in these few days than I deserve." "You deserve all the care in the world," she replied, squeezing his hand. By the time Daniel and Margaret returned from their holiday, the dynamic in the house had shifted. Henry seemed more at peace, and Emma carried herself with a newfound confidence. Margaret, however, was quick to criticize. "Emma, the house is a mess," she remarked, wrinkling her nose. "And why does Henry look so different?" Before Emma could respond, Henry spoke up. "Margaret, leave her be. Emma has done more for me than you'll ever know. She's shown me kindness and compassion that I didn't think I deserved." Margaret's eyes widened in shock. "Well, I never—" "Enough," Henry said firmly. "Emma, thank you for everything. You've reminded me of what truly matters in life." Emma's heart swelled with gratitude. Despite the challenges, the week had been transformative for both her and Henry. She had gained a deeper understanding of him and had proven to herself that she was capable of far more than she had ever realized. As the days turned into weeks, Henry's health continued to decline, but his bond with Emma only grew stronger. She became his confidant, his rock, and his source of comfort in his final days. When he passed away peacefully in his sleep, Emma was by his side, holding his hand. At the reading of Henry's will, the family was stunned to learn that he had left the bulk of his estate to Emma. "She showed me what it means to be truly cared for," the will read. "She taught me that it's never too late to find redemption." Margaret and Daniel were furious, but Emma didn't care about the money. What mattered to her was the bond she had formed with Henry, a bond that had changed both of their lives forever. In the end, Emma walked away from the family drama with her head held high. She had proven her worth, not just to Henry, but to herself. And as she looked back on her time with him, she knew that the lessons she had learned and the love they had shared would stay with her forever.